Okay there, guys. It's Marko here, and I've been playing in tarot, some stuff with Northern Kings and Raskasta Joulua, and doing some solo work. Probably the people know me best from Nightwish, and you're watching Interview Under Fire.
Marko, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today on Interview Under Fire. This is a big month. We're wrapping up April. Big year so far. First and foremost, how are you? How's your family, your bandmates, and how long have you guys been on lockdown out in Finland?
How long has it been? It starts to be kind of a blur. I'd say that we've been here at least 6 weeks, and the lockdown is, of course, something that if you gotta go to groceries, you go. But basically, most of the time you're staying home, pretty bored.
Right.
And, well, the personal bummer for me and the bandmates and, of course, the crew members and all that is that we just got the album out. We were preparing to do a nice, good, extensive rehearsal with all kinds of pyro and screen stuff. And everything fell over. And all the shows fell over. And now we're just watching like the summer festivals. Like every day you got one domino that's next to fall. And,
right.
That's crap. Well, at least we got the album out. Of course, there were already voices that should we delay and would it be, and some people have done that because there is, of course, the delivery problems with the physical ones and all that. But still, these are the times that I think we need some entertainment, some things to take our minds off. And personally, I'm happy that we released it. If it gives people, hour and a half off from this boredom, it's all for the better.
Right. There's some bands, Lamb of God, Enslaved, they were, primed for releasing their new records around this time of year. And they decided to move it. Then, of course, there's you guys and there's other bands who, took the chance to actually just go ahead and release them. Is that something that's up to you guys as a band to decide when to release, or how does that go? Did you take any part in where that goes?
I didn't really have to. Because, well, nobody really took it up seriously with us. Are we going to be delaying? But nobody really, I guess, wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I totally understand that with some people, especially bands like us too, that we got a pretty faithful fan base that are into physical copies and vinyl copies and all that, and delivery lines are seriously broken. So we suffer for this. But anyways, you can always get to listen to it at least.
Of course.
Yeah. And entertainment is really important right now, and we didn't get to do the goddamn shows.
Well, this gives us, a chance to actually talk and see what we have, planned going on in the future. That's why we do this. And, being stuck at home, how are you able to keep up with your guitar chops and, with all your instruments? Do you live in a place where you can just crank up and play, or is it okay for you? I don't know if you're neighbors or, if you just,
I got a place of my own, so I got a pretty good arsenal here.
Okay.
And a pretty good stereo system or surround system, whatever, and a home studio. So, yeah, I've been using those. Yeah, well, I was really felt last week and just was listening to new Catatonia album. which I found really
I
nice.
love that album. They're one of my favorite bands. I love them.
Yeah, because I'm into that kind of a proggy approach, and the guys had some brilliant transits from the, deep electronic bass stuff and the machinery tracks into the real band and all that. And,
Right.
and I like those things, and it's so bleak and dark.
That's before we go right into your work, you talk about proggy music. That's actually what you describe your solo album as, which I think that was a really good contrast when I actually heard Catatonia and then your album. I think the English title is I don't know, the Finnish is Mustan Sudomen Rovio. I think I said that correctly.
Yeah,
and
word
yeah,
for
so,
word, Pyre
yeah,
of the Black Heart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pyre of the Black Heart. That's what that was. Before we dive into that, so what would a typical day for Marko, and nowadays, what would that be like? Since we're technically, I would say, about little less than 2 months into quarantine.
Yeah,
I feel like musicians such as yourselves, would be getting into a routine. Are you getting into a routine at this time?
I'm in a kind of a routine. I'm a little bit of an early riser, so that when there starts to be light, I'm up, and Finnish summer is getting close, so I'm up usually around 7 latest. But then I do all kinds of things slow. I read news, drink coffee, and I can easily spend a couple of hours. And when the wife's up, we usually have an hour's walk just outside. Because, well, easy to take some oxygen,
Yeah.
and easy to keep up your lungs and system a little bit. And then we've been watching a lot of TV series, playing a lot of games on PlayStation.
Yeah. Yeah, not things that we actually planned on doing. Now everything kind of just came to a halt. And, with bands like Nightwish, and then your solo project, you've been doing, extensive touring. It's almost like how have you adjusted to this new life? Was it kind of an easy transition for you? Because, it's kind of just everything kind of just came to a halt because you just finished up a European tour around
Yeah,
February. Yeah.
that we were really lucky. We got out in February, got to do that 2 weeks something of some Central European club shows, and was really happy to do it. Got a really nice reception with that, more of a moody and atmospheric stuff, because there's not so many hit bangers there in the song set, so we had to see that can we carry on with the hypnosis.
That's okay. Sometimes you don't have to headbang all the time.
Oh,
We got Marko, so we're in good hands.
we got good wide eyes and wide grins, so that was brilliant. And then we got back, and in like 2 to 3 weeks after that, the Western world collapsed.
Did you know about any of this, like just the illness that's going around during your tour? Is that something that maybe you would have known, like on February?
I read about the China thing, I read about all that thing, and of course the funny thing was that after the tour, like within 2 weeks, I also had to take a flight with my wife. First, the wife had to get here in Finland from Brazil, and then we had to get the flight to Tenerife because my friend was having a wedding there. And we were taking all those. And by the time we were in Tenerife already, I was looking at it, okay, wife doesn't read so much news, and she's prone to get scared. I'm not going to tell her, but I really start to hope that we get on the plane to Finland soon, because otherwise it looks like we might be stranded.
Oh,
and
wow.
Luckily we got there, but already within a few days they were stopping some planes from going, some people from going, and the hotels were quarantining.
Yeah, that's kind of just you would hear whispers about what's happening in China, maybe around Christmas, maybe January. But of course, nowadays it's like, oh, it'll be fine. We can just ride through it and then see what happens. But of course, and here we are. Now that you're home, does this pandemic, does it open up maybe new things for you personally and artistically that you may have not explored before about yourself?
Well, the fact is that I did mention what we've been doing with the days. But of course, I've also been like small moments here and there, or something. I've suddenly had an idea with something, and I either played bass or guitar or something, and also written some lyrical lines and full verses and all these kind of things. And yeah, now it starts to be at the point of things that I need to. I also got some new equipment. I got to wire them up in my home studio and maybe start recording these ideas. So this kind of a thing, of course, comes kind of a naturally when you got too much time in your hands. But the whole thing in itself isn't necessarily that inspiring. It's a bummer.
Yeah, I think it's a challenge that all of us face. I mean, no matter what your profession is, when it comes to, just being locked in, protecting yourself, just newer things you're finding out. Some of the artists I've been talking to, they've discovered cooking, as like one of like just a hobby that came up. Is that something that you're exploring too? Maybe something you haven't done? I myself have actually, cooking,
I haven't done cooking, but my wife actually has started to do more. Like,
yeah.
because she's a vegetarian, so she's been starting to experiment more with all kinds of internet recipes and very nice Indian sauces and all kind of things.
Awesome.
So in the end, I end up eating more healthy too, which is always a nice thing.
So what's on the menu today, or what have you had?
Oh man, what have we had? Yesterday we had some potato gratin with oven salmon with all kinds of different oven vegetables with the spices and yeah, that was the thing. Then we did have that broccoli and some kind of a bean and was it chickpeas? Kind of an Indian sauce thing. Spinach was there too. Yeah, very good stuff.
Wow. So maybe down the road, if this thing continues, you could do like a cooking with Marko or something like that. Just something to.
Well, so far I've only been like peeling onions.
I'm sure the fans would definitely tune in for that.
yeah. I'm the kitchen boy.
So, a lot of these bands, like we just talked about, taking up new hobbies and stuff like that. Some other bands, they've actually done things like doing, going into a concert venue. Like, for example, Insomnium did this. They did like a live show. They streamed it for the fans, and it was in an empty venue. Do you think, as an artist, and you've been at this for over 40 years, playing music, you've seen everything. Do you think the quarantine-induced live streaming surge is going to affect the touring musician business going forward? Do you see bands doing this more and more down the road?
I see it as a great thing, as a great, great channel to get to people. I mean, we're people who have a calling. We want to do what we do. That's why actually musicians and writers are the banana republic of music business. And now somebody's coming here. Just a second.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. I think it's a friend of mine. I'm doing an interview. Okay, so yeah, what I was saying was that the musicians and writers are banana republic of the music business. We're easy to exploit with copyright monies and with the record companies and Spotify persons are, because we're idiots who want to do this thing. That's why we're to exploit. Yeah. So, but also, we like to do it, and we like to do it for the people. So, streaming is a great channel. But of course, I don't think that if you really want to see a live show, feel the bass in your body and see meter-high screens and all the pyrotechnics and lighting, get into that huge bubble of great vibes with the band and all the audience. You cannot do it anywhere except in a real gig.
Is that something you maybe want to do? Maybe you going live streaming with and have your fans engage?
We be talking about these things too, both with Nightwish and both with solo band. But so far we haven't. So far we haven't really made any concrete plans because, well, we would have to put people and technicians together,
Yeah.
and also a lot of people. For instance, two of our people from the band live already. Flo lives in Sweden and Troy lives in England. So that's also one thing.
I see.
I assume that, yeah, that channel is open. We would like to do it. So far, we haven't talked these things through.
Yeah, it's definitely a thought, going down the road. A lot of fans, I mean, the important thing is like getting the fans to actually engage with the artist too. And it gives everybody, it gives everybody like a break from, like you said, from, just the normal everyday schedule, what we're in right now, to actually, engage to, with our favorite artist and just some ideas. And I guess it's a way to bring people closer together. I don't know if you feel the same way, if that's what's happening. Because I know when it comes to social media, it's
I do. I mean, I'm not active in social media myself because, well, for me, social media is something that tries to grab me and invade my life. It's different. And I do have some very nice friends and all that, so I'm social in my own way. I'm just not in social media. But of course, I realize that for a lot of people, it's a way also to build unity in times that are like actively physically driving us apart. And whatever builds unity and spirit and gives you a better vibe during times, it's all for the good.
It's so much irony because everything we're talking about, I was just watching an interview with Thomas and about the new album Human Nature, and how he talked about it being like a love letter to planet Earth. And it's just so much irony, and you guys released this album Human Nature about, like about humans on their relationship to nature, and we're kind of just enduring that same thing, like we're living it right now. By the way, I love that cup.
Oh, recognizing.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's perfect.
Yeah, I got it as a present.
That's
It was,
awesome.
yeah.
You got some good friends. So
Yeah,
so
some too.
so this is your ninth album, Human Nature. I've heard it multiple times. I think it's right up there with one of your just best work you've ever done. So I know that Thomas wrote this entire album, and then you were doing your own writing with your solo album. Does that provide some sort of flexibility that you have with Nightwish and your solo project? Are you able to incorporate ideas from the two, blend one from the other? Did Thomas reach out to you like, hey, Marko, this is what I'm doing. What do you think? And
No, not really that way. I mean, I was pretty in depth involved with the solo project,
of course,
and Tuomas also, when I kind of had the time, that now we got everything down, so that arrangements and all these are done. Then I asked Tuomas that, oh, by the way, do you need any kind of a, riff or idea CD for bits and pieces that I got? And he says, I got a little bit of a writer's block. I actually have 10 songs already on the way. I thought, okay, well then, all right, all fine. Yeah, you had the solo work going. Yeah, I did. It's all fine. And I mean, for me, it's always been the fact I'm not original band member. I came in 2001.
right.
And lasting success of the band, I think the most essential thing has always been Thomas's writing of songs and lyrics. So I don't begrudge him his position or his right to put on whatever he wants on the album.
Is it the same process for for most of these albums that are released by Nightwish, is it the same process, or just something you guys did differently this time around?
Pretty much the same process. Of course, on the previous ones, I might have brought in some musical stuff or even a couple of lines of lyrics. But then we all get together. So that summer camp place that we've been using now for a few times, start going over the structures of the songs and start putting our own input arrangements into them. What are my bass lines from going from G into D minor? What kind of notes I'm going to be using into it? What are the tempos? What are the everything? Yeah. And of course the vocal harmonies. Those I did a shitload of work in vocal harmonies, building them for the whole thing. Troy did a lot as well. So in the end, what Thomas has he has his sequencer demos, which have him playing guitar and so pretty simplified riffs and all that, and some keyboard melodies, miming the vocals and all that. So we have a structure which we then start to paint over as a band, and how it starts to become alive, what the end product sounds like the same song but can sound very different, groove, vibe wise, whatever.
Yeah. So on your solo project, I want to talk about this too. You talked about how it took, is it true, it took 10 to 15 years when you first started writing on this, and then everything kind of just came together within the last couple of years, and you finally released it?
Yeah, because I was saving stuff. I was having already more stuff than what ended up on the album. I have leftovers to return to. But it was the Nightwish was entering sabbatical. So I figured that this is a good time. I had song ideas and a lot of lyrical ideas, and there was enough. And I called these couple of friends of mine that I've known, musician friends, for quite a few years. I knew the guys to be open-minded, versatile musicians. There's Tuomas Väinölä on guitar and Vili Ollila on keyboards. Asked them if they would come over to my place for some days and go over some ideas of the songs and want to see if they like them and want to arrange and do some stuff with them. Guys came over. They really got into it, ended up really arranging a lot of stuff for me and with the songs and us doing it together and also separately. Tuomas actually became the whole like a producer of the album. He was recording most of it and mixing it. Really was doing a lot of arranging work, and also both of the guys also filled some gaps if there was a C part missing from somewhere or piece of intro from something. And then we also hired a really old school, very well-known drummer, Anssi Nykänen, here in Finland. We actually met first time when I was 15 and he was 16, and he knows he's John Bonham. He can have a really heavy bass. So I hired him as a drummer, and with this project, kind of the whole thing, when we started doing shows and all that, it kind of grew out a band, because we all started to really enjoy doing them shows and like do the album, like the music and the whole chemistry of the ideas and the guys.
Yeah.
That's how it came.
And you guys did take it around Europe, No, go ahead.
You asked about the ideas. You asked about the ideas about the 10 or 15 years. That was also because when I started to play to the ideas and lyrical things to the guys, I kind of dug out everything. Also, all the old stuff. And then some of the old stuff, actually, some of the song stuff was like really relevant and good. So we ended up using them. And there was not really whole song from that far back, but there were definitely like verse ideas and some lyrical lines which needed some updating to fit the personality these days. And
so how are you feeling with the final product? Because you released 2 different versions of Finnish and English, Is it, did you go back and like redo some songs? Did you change some things up before everything was done? Because you're talking about almost 2 decades of work that you put your, heart and soul into, and now it's out. And how do you overall feel, as a fan of your own music?
Well, didn't really put all that time into that. I mean, I was busy with Nightwish recordings and touring.
Oh,
and all.
right.
So I was putting it together bits and pieces during the years. But yeah, I want it to be relevant. I want it to have depth and want it to incite interest. And I mean, I'm not necessarily a friend of complex stuff on the surface. I like good choruses, good verses, good melodies, and compact, crystallized lyrical lines, all that. I like them. But then I'm also very, very much a friend of a lot of nuances and atmospheres that you build with a lot of subtle elements and all that. So therefore we get onto the prog side, definite. But I don't know. Now I'm getting lost in my own thoughts. What was my red line here? What was the original question?
No, it was just kind of just a culmination of how you felt about your solo project. How, finally just to get it finally out there,
Yes.
just for the world to listen to.
I wanted to have a depth and wanted to have a personal meaning. It's because it was a solo album. So of course it mattered in a way that I was shit scared. And then this thing that releasing it in Finnish and English, that came also because of the selection of songs. And those songs were originally so that what got selected was that 6 were written in Finnish and 4 in English.
Okay.
So then I figured that I will have to translate some or do a mixed bunch, or just for the hell of it, what if I translate everything crisscross and release both versions? I'll do that.
Is that how you performed live too?
We did Finnish festivals and some shows. We did those in Finnish. Central European things we did in English. But I'm kind of figuring now that the next time around we get there, maybe we'll do the originals. It's going to be the Finnish and English mixed bunch. Either way, they've been written original.
Do you have a favorite song?
From my own album?
Yeah. That you just love to perform live?
Yeah, of course. There are a couple of favorites. Stones is a really good rocker. And then
that song.
Yeah, and For You is something that when I talk about that when you can do some slow atmospheric hypnosis, just kind of people start to go that way. That's a very good one for it.
Talk about those fans, like the fan reaction. We talked about the touring just for a little bit. What was your favorite part about just the touring life before everything just went on break?
Well, if you're talking about solo tour, the best thing was to get back to clubs. I mean,
because I think you prefer the clubs, don't you? Because you guys played large venues. I mean, you're talking about Wacken, festivals that are just.
With Nightwish, there's no sense going into clubs because we will have to do the same club at least a week for the same evenings, and of course, there's no way that any kind of finance logistics would make sense anymore. It's just a goddamn fact, and I like playing anywhere, whether the shows are big in the halls or small ones in the clubs or medium size or festivals or whatever. But clubs are still the ones where no matter that there isn't so many people, you get that tight bunch. You get to see the people. I think there is something.
It's just very intimate.
Yeah, and I think there's something that when you get a good vibe going, and with the tight atmosphere, you get the endorphins and somehow the sweat and the beer and whatever the club atmosphere. It just helps you to raise hell.
Yeah. I think it gives you, it'll give an artist a different perspective. It'll when you're engaging fans with a different way, you kind of just get an idea, just a well-rounded fan base. You get the intimate setting, and then you get the huge setting, you know, where you just see thousands of fans, like a sea, and
Yeah,
I think that's just very interesting.
yeah.
So
Around
before
it,
we,
but
yeah,
I have no problem with I do remember that what it is to do a live show in Wacken for 86,000 people, and when a Savonian Finnish country boy raises his fist and that 86,000 and something does the same, it gives you quite a royal feeling too.
yeah,
No denying
hopefully,
too.
yeah, hopefully, hopefully once this is over, you guys can actually bring this over to the States, because I can tell you right now, we would. I mean, there are, our metal community, we talked about this record, about your solo project, you just coming over to the States and just, giving us something like, just like a breath of fresh air when it comes to like prog music. And you also have a bit of folk into your music as well, what I've noticed. And man, I've become a huge fan of folk within the last, few years. And when I first heard that tone, especially in Stones, the beginning part, it was just it blew me away. I'm like, what is this? This is not something I've heard before. We need more of this. So here's to hoping you guys can actually bring it over to the States. It'd be great to see you, just in person perform this.
There's always a possibility if you get someone nice to work with you. Always a possibility of checking out if we can do a crowdfunding things, and that.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. So before we finish up here, I'm gonna put you on the hot seat just for a second, because you'll like this. All right. So I know, one of your what inspired you is like bands like Rainbow, Ronnie James Dio, Rob Halford, Freddie Mercury. Those are some premier artists, for your influences. If it
Very
were
much.
up to if it were up to you, what would be your favorite artist that you would love to collaborate with that you haven't already?
Okay, this has been asked me a couple of times before, but of course, I think that if Tony Iommi was having one of the
Uh,
legendary detuned doomy riffs, and he
yeah.
have a guest vocalist, I'd be willing.
Okay, man. Let's put that plug out there. So maybe, that we could actually make that happen. Now, before we finish up, this is the last one. What I'm
Mhm.
gonna do, before I do this, how familiar are you with like Nightwish's catalog when it comes to lyrics? Because I know Thomas writes the lyrics, but how familiar are you with them?
Um, so far, everything that I've been on, I've read through, but also there are so many years in between that I have forgotten things, even things that I have been singing. With the back catalog, there are gaps, definitely, big
Okay.
ones.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put you to the test. All right, let's see how good your memory is. I may throw some of your solo projects in there, so just keep an eye out for that. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna read lyrics from a song. Okay, you
Okay.
tell me you tell me what song you think it is from. Okay, you don't have to necessarily name the album. You may be able to name the album. That's fine. But I'm gonna go in. I'm not gonna go in order. I'm gonna throw it out just for a little randomness. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Okay, I can already see like the concern look on your face. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna read it. You just tell me what it's from. Losing emotion, finding devotion. Should I dress in white and search the sea, as I always wish to be one with the waves?
Well, this is Nightwish, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I have to remember the melody. Tell me the two lines again. The two
Okay.
first.
I think I'm giving it away here. I just realized. Losing emotion, finding devotion.
Yeah,
Should
that.
I dress in
Oh,
white?
God damn it! I'm trying to get it to ring to mind. Okay, it's Nightwish, but I can't remember what song.
Ocean Soul from Century Child.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Jacob's ghost for the girl in white, blindfold for the blind, dead siblings walk the dying earth, noose around a choking heart, eternity torn apart, slow toll now the funeral bells.
This is Nightwish. Is it Poet and the Pendulum? Wait a second. God damn it, which one is it?
I should play the Jeopardy theme. It is Bye Bye Beautiful from Dark Passion Play.
Okay. Damn it.
Okay. Okay. Now we got to the test. All right. So I'm going to ease up a little bit here. Okay. You should already get this one. The doors of heaven might be closed for both me and you, but a righteous man.
My father, of course.
Yeah, the voice of my father. I had to throw an easy one in there. Okay. Suffering loves faith, loves suffering. Smile to elders like a good doll. Repent, accept, separate yourself. Suck the aureate tongue.
Tribal.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite song from Human Nature. Love that song. Who tied my hands to the wheel? The zodiac turns over me. Somewhere there my fate revealed. You got it?
Iron.
Yeah. Oh, you got that one. Perfect. We got a couple more. All right. You have the world. It's all for you. I wish you'd find the lost in you.
Okay, and this is, of course, yours is an empty hope.
Yeah, you got that one. And this is actually one of my favorite ones off of this record. I am bleeding a route to freedom. Bring your lives to the death I'm dealing.
Okay. This much for freedom.
I already know. Like after the first line, you're like, you don't even have to read anymore. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tend to remember my own lyrics, except at some goddamn shows.
Have you played your entire live album, like entire solo album live yet?
Yeah, we've done.
You have? Okay. Yeah. Oh man. See, I'm saying bring it to the States. I might just go over there to Europe just to see you guys for that.
It was 52 minutes, and we had to do some hour festival shows. Well, that I could fill the gaps with bullshit. But then we did the club show, so we had to go over. So we even had a few covers too. And War Pigs is online, isn't it? So from that Czech Prague.
Yeah, I did see that. That's tremendous. Okay, wake up, dead boy. Enter Adventureland. Tricksters, magicians will show you all that's real.
Yeah, that is wake up, dead boy. Last ride of the day.
Yeah, you got it. I think that's all I had. I wanted to throw like as many as I could. I don't want to go too long, but I'd say you did pretty good. Not bad. 4 out of 6. I think you got 5 out of 6 actually. But that was good. You do know your songs.
Well, I didn't know. I knew the Nightwish, but didn't miss the song.
I think it was just the first one. Well, actually, it was Ocean Soul. Yeah. Actually, I think you got Ocean Soul.
No, I didn't. And then I was the
Bye Bye Beautiful. Bye Bye Beautiful was the other one.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, I used to sing the chorus. Isn't?
All right. So Marko, do you have any last words you want to say before we wrap up here? I know you get asked this question a lot, but if you did want to add anything, feel free.
I don't know. Well,
drink coffee.
Well, that can, but yeah, keep up the spirits. These are boring and stressing times. So be positive. What can I say?
Hey, that's what we need. You know, as simple as that sounds, that's what we got to do. And the faster we do it, you know, the faster we can see Nightwish and your talents on the road. And I'm one of those people. So, and don't forget, and don't forget, everyone that's listening, you can listen to Interview on our podcast on Stitcher, Apple, and Spotify on all major podcast apps. Please pick up Nightwish's new album, Human Nature. It is out now on Nuclear Blast Records. Marko's solo album is also out on Nuclear Blast Records on the English version, Pyre of the Black Heart. And then Mustan Sudamen Rovio, is that also out on
the film? Yeah, you can find it in the streamers and places like that. And I think some shops might also still have a few. I don't know.
What's up, guys? Thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. It would be greatly appreciated. And we look forward to bringing more guests onto our podcast. And if you have any suggestions on who we should bring next or in the future, please let us know. You could find us at Interview Under Fire's Facebook or Instagram, or you can reach me directly at schwag@interviewunderfire.com. That's SCHWAG @interviewunderfire.